All right, we're working on 403, 7 through 27 odd. So a couple assignments ago, we talked about exponential interest. There are three different exponential interest formulas. We have b times n to the x, y equals p times 1 minus r over n to the nt. And then we have y equals p e to the rt. This equation is the simple compound formula where it's only compounded once a year. This formula is where you compound any finite number of times. You could actually plug in 1. If you plug in 1, then this equation turns into that equation, 1 for n. And then the last equation is compounding continuously, meaning every instant of every second, the interest is paid out. And we found out that even though it sounds like continuous compounding interest should grow at an unbelievable rate, if you start plugging in something like 360, which would be daily interest for n, which is what banks do, they pay you at the end of every day, that is not very different from compounding continuously. When you switch from 1 compound a year to 2 times a year, that difference is a lot more than from 360 to infinity. So the more compounds, the less you get out of it. So there is a difference between these two formulas. It just isn't very much. But everything's relative, right? Okay. About that later. So it looks like on today's assignment, they're going to say n equals n sub 0 e to the rt. And what what they mean, n is the population, n sub 0, and sometimes, so in England, for 0, they often say the word not. You guys ever heard that? It'll all come to naught. It'll all come to 0. So in mathematics, we frequently call that n naught, or a naught, or b naught. So if I ever accidentally say that, that's what I mean. It's just, it's better, it's faster than n sub 0. So this is the PERT equation. Cynthia has just tried to make it look fancier than it actually is. Okay? So I'm going to do number 8. China's urban population is growing at 2.5% a year, compounded continuously. So that right there tells us we're going to use the PERT equation. If there were 13.7 million people in Shanghai in 1996, approximately how many people will there be in 2016? Apply the formula n equals n naught e to the rt, where n represents the number of people, and it should say in 2016, but Cynthia Young, she doesn't know what she's talking about. So we're going to type in 13.7 e 2.5 times, how many years are we looking at? Don't plug in 2016. 20 years. The difference between 2016 and 1996 is 20. Oh, I don't have a... I looked through it. I think they're all going to be continuous. Let me turn on my calculator. Well, this one's easy because we're solving for n. But if other things are missing, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. Okay. Here's my calculator. So 13.7 times E. Oops. E is right under the delete button, or sorry. There's one above the divide button, but if you want one that has an exponent, it's above the ln, and then you get e to the exponent. So my interest rate, I typed that in wrong, is 2.5%. What is that as a decimal? 0.025. So 0.025 times 20. So the population of Shanghai after 20 years will be 22.5 million. Okay. Look at number 10. San Francisco's population has been declining since the dot-com bubble burst. In 2002, the population was 776,000. If the population is declining at 1.5% per year, in what year will the population be 7,000? What are we solving for in this case? We're going to look for t. And oh, she even gives us a hint. Let t equal 0 correspond to 2002. That was so nice of her. So we have this much in 2002, and we're going to times it by E. Now, we're going down, so my R value has to be negative. So it's going to be negative 0.015 times T is equal to 700,000. How do we solve this? We're going to log both sides, but I can't yet. I need to isolate the base. So I'm going to divide by 776,000. And right off the bat, I'm going to cancel all those zeros. So 700 over 776 is equal to E raised to the negative 0.015t. Now I natural log both sides. And I drop this. So ln of 700 over 776 is equal to negative 0.015t ln of E. But the ln of E is 1, and that's why we have an ln button on our calculator. The PERT equation is the reason why the ln button shows up. Otherwise, the ln button wouldn't be useful. But it allows us to delete that, and then we can just type in the ln of 700 over 776. So the ln of 700 divided by 776. And what do I do to this number? Divide it by negative 0.015. What does that mean? So it's going to take 6.8 years. So supposedly in 2008, around, what, September? That's what the population would have been. All right. Let me look to see if we want to do another one. Hey, she threw in some equations. I don't see one. Just what if we had this? 10,000 equals n naught e to the 0.05 times 12. So this would say after 12 years of 5% growth, a city has 10,000 people. How many people were there initially? That's essentially what this story problem is saying. So how would you solve for n naught? We only want to ln if we have a variable in the denominator. It's actually much easier than that. That power rule would require us to natural log both sides. There, there is no variable here. That's just a number, right? And that number is attached to my variable using multiplication. So how do I separate them? So all I need to do is divide e to the 0.05 times 12. So yeah, we can just type that straight into our calculator. Divided by e raised to the 0.05 times 12. And the initial value was 5,488. Now, in this case, I want to round down to 88, right? What if it was 54.8 or 5,488.9? Which way would you round it? Why would you round it down? These are people. Even short people count as a full person. Yeah. Yeah. Even Aubrey counts as a full person. So when you're dealing with things that have to be whole values, living things, you're always going to round down. You don't ever round up. Okay? All right. Good luck.